Hello everyone, in this episode I'm going to be conducting a test to find the grippiest trail shoes that are currently on the market. So I'm not actually going to be looking at things like drop, propulsion, rockers, cushioning. There are other videos out there if you want those kind of details. What I'm going to be looking at is what pair of shoes are going to be the most reliable on the slimy, slippy, horrible trails that we get here in the UK, especially in winter. So here are the shoes that I've selected. All of them are currently on the market. Got the Salomon Speedcross 5 Gore-Tex, Saucony Peregrine 11 ST, Innovate Mudclaw G260 V2, La Sportiva Mutant, Hoka Speedgoat 4, and finally the OnCloud Venture Peak. Okay, first up, the Salomon Speedcross 5 Gore-Tex. There we go, we got forward facing chevrons on the front for uphill bite and backward chevrons on the rear for that downhill grip. 6mm lugs, so pretty deep there. Not the deepest, but still deep. And that classic Salomon contra grip rubber. For chucking myself downhill, all out, I actually thought these were really reliable, had a lot of confidence in them. I also found they were great for steadier running with quick shifts in direction. On the steady uphills they were fine, but there was a bit of slippage on the really steep stuff. I think maybe that's due to a lack of surface area on the toes perhaps. No problems at all on hard frozen mud, plenty of traction there. As you can see by my timid running here, I wouldn't say I felt particularly confident in these over wet rocks. Next, the Hoka Speedgoat 4. This uses the popular V-Bram Mega Grip compound. Bit of a mouthful that. The lugs are 5mm deep, so that I think is the shallowest out of all the shoes on test here. These do have, I think, the widest platform out of the shoes on test though. Despite the shallow lugs, throwing myself downhill, I was pleasantly surprised by the traction these offer. They weren't the most confidence-inspiring out of the ones on test here, but they still felt decent. Uphill, I quite liked how you can really flex your toes and dig in with them, driving all your energy into the front of your foot. Pretty reliable on the downhill, fine on the uphill. On the frozen trails, no problems there, but I think other shoes did offer a bit more bite. On the wet rock, not too bad there either. The V-Bram compound does seem to grip well on the hard stuff. Thanks to Hydro Flask for supporting this video, by the way. I've got their lightweight trail series flask here, weighs 270 grams, keeps liquids ice cold for 24 hours and piping hot for 12 hours. So it is actually a realistic prospect for going out for a run with. I think in the mountains you do get surprisingly cold when you're out for a run, and especially when you stop as well. So having a glug of tea can make all the difference. That's real good. Next, Innovate's Mudclaw G260 V2. The lugs here are 8mm deep, so that's the deepest on test here. I'd say this is probably the most aggressive outsole on the market actually. It's a very flat platform with a bit of width for stability. There's that Metaflex at the ball of the foot as well for hooking in your toes on ascents. I should also mention that they've used graphene here. That's the world's toughest material, by the way, so you will get a good lifespan from the rubber. Flying downhill, these offered a heck of a lot of bite and a lot of confidence, not just on mud but on rocky sections and boggy stuff as well. Braking really is excellent. Do really feel like there's a lot of stopping power in these Innovates. Uphill, still reliable there as well with a Metaflex coming into play. Again, no problems on the frozen trail at all, they performed really well there. On wet rock I was a little bit nervous actually. I think maybe because of the small contact area those long spiky lugs give. The La Sportiva Mutant. 6mm lugs, so not the best but nothing to be sniffed at either. It's actually the rubber compound that's the impressive aspect here. In fact, it's the same rubber that La Sportiva use on their climbing shoes. It does feel really sticky to the touch. I look a bit out of control here, but I think it's because I felt these allowed me to go really fast. It's amazing how nimble they make you feel. Look at that braking ability there as well. They're dependable on the really steep uphill and maybe a little bit of a lack of traction at the toes there. But on the steady slopes they felt great.
Really impressed by the Mutants.
Good on the frozen trail too, no problems there. You can fix ice spikes onto them if you need to as well, by the way. I think it was on wet rock that the Mutants probably impressed me the most. You're never going to find shoes that are sticky enough to grip to slimy rock, but these still seem the best of the bunch in that department. The OnCloud Venture Peak. These are quite narrow, slight shoes. They feature a mix of On's cloud pods on the heel and then more standard lugs on the toes. I'd say on downhill runs I felt the grip was okay, didn't really slip much in them. However, I just didn't feel as confident in them as I did in some of the other shoes, so I probably wasn't going flat out in them. I did like their uphill performance though, that's where their traction really shone actually.
I think these are great for going uphill with. I'm not that confident going downhill in them.
You can't really see it here, but they weren't too great on the frozen ground, and I think that'll be the small surface area of the outsole that's to blame there. I'll be honest, on wet rock these things felt a bit like stilettos. It was quite hard going. Finally, the Saucony Peregrine 11 ST.
Wow.
The ST in the name, by the way, that stands for soft terrain. They feature 6.5mm multi-directional lugs, more multi-directional than any of Saucony's other shoes. And the rubber compound here is Saucony's proprietary Power Track. That's another tongue twister, that. Saucony, I'm sorry to say this, but I didn't get on very well with these. I felt quite nervous in them.
Whoa.
You can see that nasty skid there.
Really don't feel confident in these.
I think on straight up mud they're fine, but when rocks are in the equation, that's when the trouble happens. It did seem okay on the frozen ground though, and if you need to you can add spikes as well. But yeah, total lack of confidence on rock. Watch this.
This is not good.
Well, I've had an extra couple of weeks testing all these different pairs of trail shoes and I've picked my winner. At the start of my testing, I thought hands down that the Innovates were going to win it, but I'm going to give the prize to the La Sportiva Mutant. I think it's fair to say that the Innovates were the grippiest on mud, but I think actually the La Sportiva Mutant was the best all-round package. It performed well on the uphills and the downhills, but then it was really good on wet rock, and because of that I had the confidence to go really fast in these. So well done La Sportiva, your Mutants have become my go-to trail running shoe. These things really are superb. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button, that would be massively helpful. If you've got any questions about any of the shoes I tested, fire away in the comments below, I'd be happy to help. Thanks very much for watching, catch you next time.